Hi, I'm Kelly, and I would like to introduce to you our module, it's called the Metaphor Museum. So the Metaphor Museum is actually a 4-week teaching module to teach metaphors in the English literature component, mainly under the theme of people and culture. And in this module, we would be heavily grounded in Malaysian and local culture. So this module is designed to guide students from identifying and interpreting metaphors all the way to constructing their own original metaphors. And by the end of the module, the aim is for them to confidently perform and produce their own poems based on all the knowledge they have and has gained on creating and building metaphors. So this module was created with two main objectives, which is first, to enable students to identify and construct original metaphors, and second is to develop students' oral communication expressive performance skills, which will be later be used as the assessment at the end of the module. So at the heart of the module is our no other than our Metaphor Museum's toolkit. So it comes in something that we call the curator's case, as you can see, a clear white box, which compromises of museum artifacts, prompt cards, and sensory guides. So what are these museum artifacts, right? The museum artifacts in our curator's case consist of very relevant Malaysian items that I would say is unique to our culture, which is pestle and mortar, famous in Malaysian kitchens, no matter what race you are. We also have the chapte, which is something that we grew up playing. We also have bate, is something that we've worn as Malaysians. You can see it being worn every day, everywhere, by across different genders as well, different races. And other than that, we also have the cinnamon sticks. This is quite important to a lot of our dishes in Malaysia. So the reason we chose all of those is because we believe that it's the most culturally relevant to to our culture, and there would be chances that in this modern day era, some students might have not came across these items. For example, the pestle and mortar, and that's why we want to reintroduce it to them and integrate it into our lesson. And we also have prom cards. You can see even this consists of all local foods, local items, local games like the gasing. You can see the sampan, the songket, and all of this will be used as prompters for students to create their own metaphors. So in the end, when they create their own metaphors, it will be based and in Malaysia, and it will be culturally relevant. And last but not least, we also have the sensory guides. So these are a few guides to, again, items that are relevant to our culture, but except in the back, we have the tactile descriptions, we have auditory descriptions, and also the memory descriptions. So this would eventually help students feel more connected and understand these items more, and eventually use it to create their own metaphors. So the module is then further supported by a range of teaching and learning materials other than this toolkit. So this includes Canva, presentation slides, lesson plans, worksheets, activity sheets, assessment rubrics, and even peer feedback forms, as well as reflection sheets at the end of the module. So these resources are designed to support teachers in lesson delivery while providing students with structured guidance throughout the learning process. So this module aims to foster active participation. The module also incorporates student-centered teaching strategies such as collaborative learning, like gallery walks, peer discussions, and even reflective learning. And moreover, in the end, creating an original piece of work. So this approaches encourages students to critically think, be creative, communicate, collaborate, and in the end, creating a more interactive and meaningful literature classroom. All in all, this module culminates a performance-based assessment in which students compose and present an original metaphor poem. And all of this will not just be done immediately. They would be guided step by step, and the lesson would take them through a journey until they reach the end, which is the final step of the module. So the clear assessment rubrics are also provided to ensure transparent evaluation across the classroom. While we also provide peer feedback and self-reflection activities that encourage students to be more involved in their learning and development. That is a short summary and introduction to our module.
Now we are going to into the theory of this approach. So the gradual release of responsibility framework is actually built on the constructivism theory. So this approach is by Douglas Fisher and Nancy Frey. So as we know, it is built on constructivism. So which theory in constructivism does it comes from? So first, it's from the left, Vygotsky and the ZPD. So where the learning happens best in the zone of proximal development. This is like the sweet spot between what a student can do completely alone and what they can do with help. And next is the Jerome Bruner and the scaffolding, where it teaches you instructional scaffolding, which is temporary support, meaning the students are not going to do it all alone by themselves. They get gradual help from the teacher, and this is to bridge the gap and systematically reducing help as the students gain confidence. Again, I do, we do together, and you do alone. Okay, so for this module, the approach that we are focusing on is the gradual release of responsibility approach, or the short form is GRR. So for this approach, the main focus is like this. So the first section of the approach is I do. So what is I do? The I do meaning like the teacher is the one who give out the lesson. They are the one who give the answers, and the students, they are listening. So for the first session, it's more teacher-centered. And then to the week 2 lesson, it is we do. So for this one, the teacher and the students collaborate with each other and they do the activities together. So the teacher is the one who do the scaffolding, they even help. If the students is struggling, the teacher will give them like a prompt so that the students will continue doing the activity. And then in the week 3, it's you do together. So in this one, you focus on collaborative learning amongst the students only. The teacher might be the one who oversee what is the students doing is correct or not. But the focus is the students are doing it together. And lastly, in week 4 is you do alone. So in this one, the students are not going to work in groups. And the teachers, again, they are going to take responsibility of being the overseer if the students is struggling or anything. But the main focus is, in here, the students are trusted to do their activities alone. And yeah, that's it.
This module provides a few benefits not only to the students but also to the teachers. Firstly, for the students, it reduces creative anxiety. By using physical artifacts like batik, or pastel and mortar as a concrete anchor, students overcome blank page anxiety and find it easier to transition into the abstract process of constructing metaphors. Second, it enhances descriptive vocabulary. The module's sensory prompts compel students to move beyond simple visual observations and engage with the tactile, auditory, and olfactory properties of cultural objects, which naturally expands their descriptive lexicon. Third, it builds cultural competence. By using Malaysian cultural icons, the module validates students' lived experiences and cultural knowledge, creating a safe space for language production that feels familiar and relevant. For the teachers, it provides effective scaffolding. Why? Because the teachers are given a structured cognitive pipeline, which are discovery, refinement, and transformation, that breaks down the complex task of writing poetry into 3 small manageable steps for learners. Second, this module gamifies the drafting process. The use of the metaphor in a box or the prompt deck transforms the potentially difficult task of drafting a poem into a structured game-like activity, which helps keep students motivated throughout the writing stages. And lastly, it supports clear assessment. The module provides well-defined rubrics that allow teachers to clearly evaluate students on specific criteria, such as the application of metaphors and thematic relevance, making the grading process transparent and objective.
So how much exactly is this toolkit? Now the Metaphor Museum Toolkit consists of 2 things, which is the module itself, as well as the curator's case. Now, let's break it down for you. I didn't say how much, right? Okay, good. So how much is exactly this toolkit? Now, the Metaphor Museum toolkit consists of two things, which is firstly the module itself, and secondly is this curator's case. And we're only selling it for 99 ringgit and 90 cents. Now, if you think that's expensive, let me break down for you. For the curator's case, it consists of this box, which is 12.90. And if we are going to look into it, this pestle and mortar was 5 ringgit 20 cents. For this chapte was 9 ringgit 90 cents. For this pack of cinnamon sticks was 2 ringgit 60 cents. For the batik itself was about 10 ringgit. As well as we look into the kits of these cards, deck of cards, as well as the A6 cards. Now these are cards that we did ourselves, where we printed and we manually cut them as well as laminated them. But approximately will be about 25 ringgit. Now this also includes printing for the module as well, full colored, and to a total of 63 ringgit 60 cents. Right? 63 ringgit, yeah. 63 ringgit 60 cents. Not including module. Wait. Let me adjust that. Okay. So the total for the curator's case is already 63 ringgit and 60 cents, not including the module. So if we were to calculate with the module as well as printing and even prepping it, it costs way more than 99 ringgit 90 cents. So get your toolkit today, only for 99 ringgit 90 cents.
Hello everyone, my name is Jaya, and today I will be demonstrating week 1 lesson on introducing metaphors using a Metaphor Museum toolkit. Now, instead of introducing metaphors or the definition of metaphor immediately, I will use a guided discovery approach. Now, my goal here is for students to first explore the meanings behind familiar Malaysian cultural artifacts before learning the literary concept. For today, I will begin with 2 different products, which is pestle and mortar, as well as the batik. Now here we have 2 different guides that can help them, which is the batik card as well as the pestle and mortar card. So to begin the lesson for today, I will first display the batik artifact card. Now I will ask the students, what do you see in this picture?
A cloth.
Cloth?
Colorful.
Colorful, yes. As expected, they have different responses. Now after acknowledging their responses, I will ask, besides being a piece of cloth, what does batik actually represent?
Malaysian culture.
Malaysian culture?
The different cultures in Malaysia.
Okay, nice. So students may respond with ideas such as culture, tradition, and even identity. Now I will explain that these responses show students are beginning to think beyond the object's literal meaning. Then I will present with the sentence, batik is a book of memories. So can I ask you, can batik literally be a book?
No. Don't think so.
No. Yes. I will then explain, although batik is not literally a book, it preserves stories, traditions, and identity through its unique patterns. Just as a book preserves stories through words. Now these help students understand the objects that can represent deeper meanings. Then I will ask, besides, card, we go another one. Next, I will introduce the pestle and mortar. Have you all seen this before?
Yes.
So can you tell me what is it used for?
Cooking.
Cooking?
Herbs.
Grinding. So are you familiar with ayam pupuk?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how your sambal comes from. Now, the pestle and mortar is the heartbeat of the kitchen. And I would ask, can it actually have a heartbeat?
No.
Are you sure? Is that a heartbeat?
Maybe.
Maybe. I will then explain that pestle and mortar symbolizes warmth, care, and togetherness found preparing in meals for our families. Although it is only a kitchen tool, it represents something much more meaningful. After discussing both artifacts, I would introduce them to touch the artifacts as well. I would then introduce the formal definition of a metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech that compares two unlike things by saying one is one thing and one is another without using the words like or as. So for example, batik is a book of memories. The pestle and mortar is the heartbeat of the kitchen. Now these statements are not literally true, but they help us understand the ideas and emotions behind these cultural artifacts. This introductory lesson also prepares students for the following weeks as they will be using these products in their lessons, where they will identify metaphors in text and eventually create their own metaphors using Malaysian cultural artifacts. So that's all for the demonstration for week 1.
Now we are going to week 2, in which we are going to use the Metaphor Museum. So for week 2, it is a sensory exploration, and it acts as a bridge between tangible objects and figurative expression. So the task is to analyze a physical artifact and construct an original metaphor that accurately captures its cultural heritage value. So how the activity will go on. So first, I'm going to introduce to the students of the Metaphor Museum. Then we are going to use the artifacts that is in the Metaphor Museum. For example, we have a pestle and mortar, and also a batik cloth. So I'm going to give it to the students for them to touch, to play. Maybe they can open the batik and just play with it and grind the pestle and mortar. So after giving them some time for them to familiarize themselves with the artifacts that is given, they are then going to answer this 3 things. Okay, first, let's see. So for the batik, what is the adjective that you can think of?
Colorful.
Colorful, yes, correct. Batik is colorful. How about you? What is the pestle and mortar give off? Heart, yes. Okay, after that, they are going to the verbs. So, what verbs can you think of?
I think it's very flowy.
Yes, it's very flowy. How about the pestle and mortar?
I think that's beating.
Yes. And then lastly, this is the crucial part, which is the feelings and the ideas that the students get when they see and feel these artifacts. So let's start with the batik. What is the feeling that you get when you first touch it and when you play with it?
Malaysian culture.
Yes, now Malaysian culture. How about the pestle and mortar?
Strong.
Strong. Okay. After that, after they already play with it, they are going to come up with a metaphor. It doesn't have to be the most correct one because it's still the students are still experimenting. And let's ask the one with the pestle and mortar. What a metaphor that you can come up with?
Pestle and mortar is the heartbeat of the kitchen.
Okay, that is very good. Very heartbeat because she said it's hard, and when she stomp it and grind it, it sounds like a heartbeat. And why kitchen? Because it's always used in the kitchen. Next is the second activity for week 2, in which it is a metaphor sorting and also collaborative poster creation. So in this session, it transitions students from conceptual knowledge to collaborative application. Using hands-on design, students work in a group to physically categorize, debate, and map out metaphors and meaning on a large-scale poster, reinforcing structural and conceptual comprehension through peer justification. So, in the poster, or like this table, we have column 1 is the cultural subject. And the cultural subject are actually the things that the students already play with in the Metaphor Museum. We have batik, pestle and mortar, chapte, and cinnamon. So, and then at column 2, it's column 2 and column 3, it's the blank space where the students will piece their answer. So for the column 2 is the metaphorical strips, and the column 3 is the deep reading strips. So what this activity will do is I'm going to give this poster to the students, and they are going to have a mix and match of answers of metaphorical strips and also the deep meaning. So what is what the students going to do? They're going to work together in a group with this kind of worksheet or a poster where all of the things is listed, and they are going to be in a group where they're also given this two kind of strips that they can paste into the poster. So these two strips is the answer. It's mix and match and random. So the students will have to discuss in their group whether if the answer is suited with this artifact or this answer is suited with this artifact. So the students can discuss and they can paste the answer. For example, can one of you tell me what is the metaphorical strips for cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon, it smells nice.
Is a fragrant scroll or warm memory?
Yes, because the cinnamon looks like a scroll if you look very closely. So that's why, and it's a fragrance. And what is the deeper meaning?
A simple spice that represents the deep comfort, warmth, and enduring scent of traditional family recipes passed down over time.
Yes, that's correct. So the students will piece all of their answer in these boxes, and then they present with their to their peers. And yeah, that's it for the week 2 activities.
Hi, we're back with our lesson for week 3, and again we'll be using our metaphor museum. And this week specifically, I will be using the tactile card, which is the A6 cards. It's called the tactile guide device card. So for this week, we'll be doing a gallery walk where students will be given these cards, and on the back of the cards, there would be the description of the item. For example, a labu sayur here. So an average student or a modern student would not have probably seen a labu sayur before, and they would not be familiar with how a labu sayur feels, how a labu sayur sounds, or what memories could possibly be connected to the labu sayur. So they wouldn't feel the connection to it. But in order to write metaphors, to create metaphors, they need to understand the significance of it, how it sounds, how it feels, and even the memories attached to it. So this is why we have made these tactile cards to guide the students. Because this week, in this class, we will be doing creating original metaphors. And this will be done in a group where collaborative learning will be done. So first, I'm going to give out students these cards where they will be reading this in groups. And after they're done, they will write their metaphors that are originally created on this board that I give them. And after that, they will be doing a gallery walk, meaning each group, which is about 3 to 5 students, will be going around and listening to their friends' metaphors and exchanging their metaphors so that they learn and understand how these metaphors are created by their friends.
What is this?
Banana leaf.
Equal. Okay, so for example, fill the waxy cool surface. The wood as the delicate as a thin sheet of silk, and as a resilient as a jungle shield. Auditory, rain falls upon it. It drums a rhythmic beat and like a rustling sigh. And then we have like memory. The aroma of the leaf is released by the heat of the fruit. It is the smell of communal feast, a humble beginning, or the raw cream energy of the fires.
I think the part where communal feast is nice.
Yeah,
So maybe something about sharing
yeah, because people do eat.
together,
Yeah,
right?
with banana leaf.
So maybe the banana leaf is
A table.
a table to share with family. Is that okay?
I think yeah.
The banana leaf is a
Table
table
that welcomes.
that welcomes family.
Yes.
Wow.
Yay. table that welcomes family.
Okay. Students have created their own original metaphors. You can see Group 1 has created their original metaphors. Group 2 has created their original metaphors based on the tactile guide. So now it's time for the gallery walk where they explain to their classmates what their metaphors mean and how did they come about.
Okay, so we are from group 2 and we actually choose banana leaf. And for the metaphor, we do the banana leaf is a table that welcomes family. So why do we write a table that welcomes family? Because in this card, it actually said that it is the smell of a communal feast. So when we talk about communal feast, we are thinking family eating with each other. Sharing.
And that is for week 3. Thank you.
Okay, now going into week 4, this is when the assessment starts. We have 2 assessments for this module. The first one is guided writing, where the students will write 2 stanzas of metaphor poems, and another one is their poem presentation. So this week marks the practical application of the students' writing skills. In the first session, they will engage in a guided writing task to compose a 2-stanza poem based on teacher-provided prompts. The second session focused on the students' ability to present their poem effectively to the class. These assessments are designed to bridge the gap between creative writing and communicative proficiency. So before the lesson, the students will be given these prompt sheets. So on this prompt sheet, there are 2 parts which will give them detailed instructions. So for the first part, this is when the students will use the metaphor museum, which is in this. The metaphor museum that we're using is the deck of cards. This deck of cards, which we call this deck of cards is what we call as the metaphor sheet cards. So on these cards, there is a primary object and a few prompts behind for them to generate ideas and to get a glimpse of what they are about to write. For example, here we have the primary object here is the banana leaf, and behind here you can see the banana leaf. There are a few prompts here. We have the introduction of the banana leaf and what the students can generate from that, and what sort of a new perspective they can get from this prompt. So for example, the banana leaf is not just a plate. Now the format that we have here is it is a noun. This is where the students fill in, and another one is that what action. This is also what the students will also fill. So for example, the banana leaf is not just a plate, it is a table that welcomes family gatherings as such. Then in the end, the students will also have to describe the banana leaf as something else. For example, to describe sharing. This type of cards is what we will give the students. They are free to choose whichever object they want. And also the prompt sheet for them to start on their 2-stanza poems. Now, the requirements for this poem writing is that the students must explicitly identify the metaphor shift in their written stanza and perform it with a distinct change in vocal tone and gestures during the poem presentation later. Itu ikat tau?
Kan.
Okay. In terms of the requirements of the stanza, there are 2. For the first one, we emphasize on the setting. For example, that the students describe the scenes using sensory details such as vibrant texture or colors. And then for stanza 2, this is where they make the connection. They express their personal feelings. Here we will put a format where the students have to follow ABAB or AAB rhyme scheme. Then after they finish drafting their poems for 30 minutes, we'll move on to the poem presentation. Each student will present their 2-stanza poems for approximately 3 to 5 minutes.